Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Kingdom Says podcast. I am your host, as always, Garrett Williams, and joining me today is my usual co-host, Kyle Henning. Kyle, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing well. Getting to the end of the week here after a good holiday weekend last weekend. Getting ready to transition to another holiday weekend this weekend. Chiefs took care of business early last weekend, gave everybody a nice little Christmas present, like Frank Clark said. Ready to go for Sunday.
Yeah, it's been a good week. Obviously, the holidays came and went. Christmas had a good Christmas. How was your Christmas? Did you have a good Christmas?
Christmas was good. Stuff got a little hectic. I won't go into too much detail afterwards, but stuff happened afterwards. But we're getting through this week and moving on, going forward next week. So.
Yeah, onward to 2023. That's what I'm looking forward to. Tom, unfortunately, is not here today with us. He has some prior obligations. But
he's getting ready for some stuff to do some stuff in the Casey area, if I'm not mistaken. So there's some practicing going on with him right now. He's busy practicing.
Yeah, he's doing some cool stuff. So I'm going to talk about it more later. He had a good little week.
We will talk to Tom when he gets back about our friend, and we also have identified who the individual is in the video, so we may be talking to both. We're working on details, figuring all that out. We'll let everybody know how that goes, but we will definitely be talking to Tom about how all that took place. So if you haven't seen it, go over to his Twitter. Arrowhead Tom. There's a video of a very very brave fan in some very cold weather doing activity on a video. It's gone fairly viral, so go check that out. It was an experience, and I'm interested to hear about what it was like in person. So
I'm very interested to see how that experience was in person, because that Seahawks game was quite the battle in the frigid cold, as the entire country is just covered in snow. They're out there playing football, and Seahawks players are showing up shirtless to pregame. As soon as you see that, as soon as you see that, you know that they're not going to win. I mean, what are you doing?
I don't understand why he hates shirts.
It's just...
I mean, I wouldn't wear a shirt if I looked like that dude either very often.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
There's limits. Like, it's cold, no matter what. Like, and eventually, you're numb and you don't feel it. But why? Just what's the point?
Yeah, and it was funny too. At near the start of the game, the sideline reporter had talked to Rick Burkholder and had basically said he was like, yeah, we're trying to keep them as warm as possible. We're putting them in blankets and warm benches, all basically the opposite of what the Seahawks were doing. Hey, it's actually better to be warm. Your brain actually stops functioning as highly when you're colder, apparently. So
if you've ever been in a really cold pool.
Yeah.
Your brain stops functioning as well as normal. You ever been in an ice bath? You're like, oh, wow, that's a shock to the system.
Ooh, big shock.
Cold does things to the body. So, Kadarius Toney's quote after the game, I think, summed it up well. If you want to go hear what he said, go check that out. You can find that clip. It's running around the internet. I mean, the defense, man.
Yeah, the defense showed up to play. Obviously, they were not bothered one bit by the cold. They were quite enjoying it.
I think they hurt some of y'all.
Yeah, you think?
I mean, we knew that some of them did because there were responses on Twitter with tweets, but
yeah, not as many responses this year. We haven't seen as many as obvious of hints from the players that they see what we're saying, but yeah, it definitely seems like they're at least taking note of themselves.
Hey, that's Pro Bowler Geno Smith to everybody that is out there calling the Seahawks team not very good. Offensively, they didn't have Kenneth Walker at full bore, and I get that. But no Tyler Lockett.
No Tyler Lockett was tough.
That's a big deal. So that was nice, but you play who's on the field, and who was on the field. That defense went out there and mauled them for the most part.
Yeah, it was definitely an impressive performance, and there's a bunch of people stepped up. Obviously, Chris Jones had a monster day, as always, rightfully claiming his throne as the best defensive tackle in the league at the moment. I think that's not even a controversial thing to say anymore.
Well, Aaron's not even playing right now. It's not close.
It's not close.
He's a
Yeah.
menace, and he was destroying Aaron's numbers this year, even when Aaron was playing. So, like, we've talked about Chris for years and how he should be in that conversation, and everybody's like, yes, he is. Go look at any of the numbers and statistics you want. He is absolutely dominant.
Yeah, one of the best. One of the best in the game.
They build game plans entirely for him.
And he does it from like every position on the line too. Like he can line up anywhere and he just wins his matchup consistently.
Every time.
And the rest of the line.
And honestly, he shouldn't be playing as many snaps as he is, but he does because we don't have enough.
We don't have much else around him. But hey, for what we have, they were stepping up this game.
That's it. What's around him for the last couple of weeks has been very good. Mike Dana has been very good. George is there now. Remember earlier about it this season where he was like a half second slow. We were still adjusting to the NFL speed, still getting there. He's getting home. There was the move he got the sack on. He beat that man clean off the edge with a hand move, swatted the hands away, and woo, straight to the quarterback. So he's getting there. I'm super happy because I notoriously was not super high on him coming out. He lacked some bend and flexibility to him that concerned me. But he's shown that he knows how to get his hands up if he's not getting to the quarterback. I don't know what Chris taught him or what the developments have been, but that dude is swatting passes all over the place. He and Drake Jackson, I think, are tied for the lead and the NFL record with passes batted. Like second, and then one more pass batted for each of them, I think, puts them in tie for the lead for passes batted in NFL history as a rookie or something like that. So he's been great. Are we ready for the Frank Clark conversation yet?
I don't know, Kyle. Are we? Are we ready for this conversation?
Because
all of a sudden,
for 2 years, but nobody wanted to
listen. That is true, huh? All of a sudden, though, I mean, this Frank Clark investment, a couple, many years down the line, all of a
Frank
sudden,
Clark is having his best season in Kansas City right now. It's not particularly close. And I think the common denominator is one thing and one thing only. He has more control of his health, of his stomach condition. And he's healthier this year than he's been at any point he's been in Kansas City. It's still going to flare on it. He's still going to have occasional bad days. Speaking of someone who has a similar stomach condition, there is literally nothing you can do. And he went out and played through it the other 2 weeks ago, I think, or 3 weeks ago, which if you guys have listened to me discuss it on this podcast before, the toll that it takes on your body physically and mentally when you have an episode like that, we're talking 10, 15, 20 pounds of weight loss in 24, 48 hour periods. That takes a toll on anybody.
It's tough to go out there and play an NFL game after having to deal with that.
I don't care how much fluid they put in your body, and I don't care how much better you feel on Sunday after how bad Saturday or Friday was. You're not back to it. Takes 2, 3, 4 days to even get back to 85% from just a normal human being perspective. Now, their med staffs are way better. They have all kinds of extra equipment that I don't have at my disposal at my home, which is fair. But
probably just some IVs.
It's still not good on the body.
It's not. And just to have, obviously he's been dealing with this his entire time here in Kansas City.
Whole life, or at least a long
probably. Probably. But to see him, finally coming through that and
eating people.
Yeah, exactly.
Blowing people off the ball. He jumping snap counts again. He's destroying the edge. He's always setting the edge. He's never had a problem setting the edge. We've never once been like, Frank Clark didn't play the run well or set the edge. No, never been an issue. But we're winning outside. We're winning inside. He's been winning inside the tackles, like in guard to guard, which not really where he usually goes. But he can because he's violent and understands leverage and gets like he's been the best defensive line player on this defense, not named Chris Jones, and it's a pretty good gap between him and the next one on the line.
Yeah, and it's great to see. It is really great to see.
The conversation I'm not sure everybody's ready for is he may not be gone again next year.
Yeah, to be honest, we'll have to
It
see
may
how this
not be. I
playoffs
don't know if
go.
it's a crazy contract for him either, though. I think it may
It's
be another like.
I really do think it's not a crazy situation. I mean, especially at
I
this point in his career, like
dude, I
take a
talked about this last
take
year,
a
and everybody
team
told me I
friendly
was
deal.
cracked. Everybody told me I was insane. Then when I said they were going to do the same thing they did with Sammy with him, everybody told me I was insane. And then what they do? They did the same thing with Frank that they did with Sammy, and I was like, I told you it was coming.
Yeah,
They're gonna sign him.
it's pretty
If
realistic, I
he's
think.
willing to
Yeah.
stay here, which I don't think he has any intentions of leaving Kansas City if he doesn't have to, because he loves it in Kansas City. He's made that clear. If they can find a deal that works.
They can't.
I mean,
definitely.
Yeah. Are you mad about the production he's put out for $12 million or $14 million? What are they paying Carlos Dunlap? 14,
exactly.
10?
Whatever that is. I mean,
I'm okay with that.
easily.
I'd take Frank over Carlos.
Exactly. I would do that in a heartbeat for sure.
Those two, but it's still a pretty good gap between them.
Yeah, and then you especially still having that veteran presence, and the veteran presence in the room, and just the experience. Exactly.
Look,
like
man.
actually, we saw the videos in the offseason and in training camp of him.
On it. Why is Frank teaching Jordan? Because
they're calling it the
technician.
Frank Clark School of Pass Rush, but it's like it was
an excellent technician.
It was
He's
legit.
A student of the game. Listen to the way they talk about how he watches film and what he studies in the
And
you may not like the dude. You may not love the play he's put out for the last couple of years or whatever. But he's damn sure an asset to this team.
Well, and we talked about it a couple episodes ago, but he is one of the leaders on the defense, like hands down.
He's the dude.
Yeah, like he is the vocal.
Of that defense.
Yeah, he is the vocal leader.
You go show me who else is the alpha dog on that defense. I'll wait.
You ain't gonna find many more. You ain't gonna find many more.
Willie's the hype man. Chris is the fun. I'm gonna tear your face off guy.
Yeah, Frank Clark is.
That boy is
definitely not Justin Reed.
Quiet for the most part. No. He's not your alpha dog.
Definitely not. Frank Clark is the one that brings the fire, brings the juice.
Would be the one that I could see because Juan's fiery and stuff, but it's still Frank's team. On the defensive side, that's his leadership group, and him and Spags are boys. Like,
oh yeah. I mean, he was brought in to be the pairing with Spags, and
he's the voice of that defense. He's the alpha. There's a reason that he put a tweet out that said, "Just remember, if y'all haven't get anything for Christmas, your boys put a dub under the tree for you this year early." Like, he's the leader of defense. They hear it all.
Yeah.
When he says something after what happened with Colin earlier before the game, look, y'all, that's the leader of your defense. That's the guy that stirs that holds those dudes accountable. That's up in everything. That's your guy. Now, we have to talk about the new guy because he's been great.
He has been great.
Brandon Williams has been excellent since arriving in Kansas City.
Yeah, he's been like a noticeable presence on the D line, like filling holes. He's been getting to the backfield.
Brett H found yet another.
Just another,
late season addition to this defensive line group. A la Melvin Ingram, a la T.
Terrell Suggs, yep.
Every year, every year going, oh my God, the pass rush, the defensive line, and then in January, it's fine.
Even Danny Shelton has been out there in coverage. You see that?
They dropped him in zone. I fell out of my chair, and then I remembered. Oh yeah, that makes sense. It's Spags.
Yeah, it's got to do something. I mean, you got to put it on film.
Hey man, you got to put it on film. You got to make him think you're gonna drop a 375-pound.
You never know. You just never know.
Into coverage, you know?
Yeah.
Hey.
But it definitely seems like overall, like the defensive line has definitely started to find their rhythm. They were a little shaky in the middle of the season and the start. They just didn't really we didn't know. They didn't know what they were doing. But now it's a very young group, and you gotta it takes time.
Kids.
It takes time to get all those pieces to work together.
Carlos Dunlap and now Brandon Williams to that. There's a bunch of 4-year or less in the league kids in that room with Chris and Frank.
Trying to fill out and add depth.
George Karlaftis, Malik Herring, Josh Cato, Colin Saunders,
Tershawn Wharton.
Did I name a veteran other than Derek Nottie in that room?
I mean, Derek Knight's barely even a vet. He's his 5th year, I think.
Well,
so.
he played more the last couple games, and he's been better now that he's been reinserted a little bit. So I'm good. He said, "Oh, snap! They're trying to find somebody to replace me with."
You should probably. I guess it's time to pick it up now. Huh? But
and
defensive line
opens up a window for Danny Shelton to be up. So
yeah,
and by hurt, I mean sick, because he was just ill as all hell from what the injury report said, from what I understand, because they went through that defensive locker room like a tornado.
Yeah, that was
going. Really hoping you see Prince is out, and I think it's illness related, and I would really like him to stay home for like the next week or so.
I know, huh? Get away from don't catch anyone else sick, especially
anywhere
in that
near
room.
Patrick or the offensive line, please and thank you.
Sheesh. But defensive line has been on fire. Linebackers.
I mean, when the D line is eating up the O line, it's a lot easier for Nick Bolton to do. I mean, it's not hard to figure out. We've talked about this, guys.
It's not hard.
Nick
it's simple.
Bucks. You know what he does do? He eats tackles.
Finds those holes. Yeah, and eats them up.
So when our D-line does the job, Bolton does his job. When the D-line struggles, he struggles. It's not rocket science. It just is what it is.
That's how it works.
Much more on point with him when he was arriving places to the ball. I really wish we'd stop taking him off the field voluntarily. It's going to make me pull my hair out. The only time that Willie should be off the field is if Willie cannot physically be off the field. That is just where I'm at with that at this point. Are you in any different stance with that?
I mean, unless he is gasping for air and he cannot run
unless
anymore.
You're physically unable to do your job, please
and
be
you need a player 2 breather, but you really do need Willie Gay on the field at all points in time.
Sorry,
just the threat of him. No, I mean just the athletic threat of Willie Gay. It changes how offensive have to approach. Looking at the defense, they know that number 50 is like one of the most athletic dudes and flies around and
not
they
just
can
in
see
his
it.
Position. That dude's just a flat out athlete.
Just him standing out there running around. If you're a quarterback, you see him. It's like that dude moves faster than the rest of them. We have to watch out for him.
Yeah.
So he should be on the field.
We do have to talk about Mr. Chenal.
Actually.
Fantastic in the Seattle game.
Great to see the development of Leo Chenal.
Several diagnosing the play, the run, immediately getting the ball.
Yeah, setting the edge.
He was what I expected and wanted him to be all season. We're there now. And I think we're seeing that with pretty much the entire rookie group from front to back, because we're now going to transition to talk about the thing that I think has been most affected by the D-line play you were talking about, the secondary.
Yes.
All of a sudden, what are they getting?
They actually have shorter windows. They're not just having to cover for 4 seconds while the quarterback just sits back there.
Out of it too. Several of them. They're forcing. I mean, multiple interceptions. Only a couple of them counted. Man, the difference when you get pressure versus when you don't, and what it does for a secondary is immensely different. And the other thing is, I think the player that I think has been the most improved in that back end that no one talks about is a safety, and it's not either of the starters. It's the third guy. It's Brian Cook.
Yeah.
It's time.
Add him in. Throw him in there. Get him mixed in there. You have to get him more reps at this point.
I'm done with Darius.
Exactly. We need the skill set that he has for this playoff run.
He can be your Dan Sorensen box safety, except here's the difference. He's about 50 times as fast. It's about 3 times as hard and just as legal. Actually, I don't know if it hits it 3 times as hard. He probably hits just as hard, but usually a little more legal.
And definitely way faster.
He's bigger.
Huge.
And he can, with that being said, he's better in coverage against big guys like tight ends and things in the box.
Yeah, you can actually kind of rely on him to cover people.
And use him in the box, for the love of God, like you used to, Dan, for the last 6 years.
I mean, we're gonna need it. Come playoffs, we're gonna need it. We're gonna need that. We're gonna need that player.
The guy that's on the field, nickel and dime, that needs to be your extra safety, your extra middle linebacker, or your extra linebacker / safety.
Yeah, the extra guy you're dropping into coverage from the box, basically.
Your
But
box safety. Just put him
box
down
safety.
there and let
Just
him
call him the box
hunt.
safety. Put him in
Let
as
him hunt.
box safety.
See what he's got
Exactly.
for ball skills. Let him hunt. Because the dude
Yeah.
is an absolute menace in
I
open
mean, he
field
had great
tackle.
ball skills in college. We've seen him. We've seen highlights of it.
Yeah,
So
and he's a menace in the open field from the tackling perspective. He does not miss tackles, like hardly
no.
ever. I'm gonna knock on wood because I don't want to jinx the kid, but look, the Spags has got. We're now to the point in the year, and I think he's starting to do it, and I'm glad because it's now to the point in the year where the rookies aren't rookies anymore. We're
Yeah.
there now.
Exactly.
We've
They've
got to
got
start.
they've got some experience under their belt in the NFL. Like they know what the speed is. They know how they got to operate in the
That isn't
game
to
in the
say you're
building.
not going to get rookie mistakes and still have some stuff and some
No,
growing pains.
yeah. I mean, you can't hit every scenario, but they've hit a
So
lot of the scenarios.
it's time that they start trusting more, and I think they have been, because if you go back and look at some of the game plan and stuff they're doing, the defenses are getting more elaborate.
Yep.
The looks are changing. They're doing some more stuff, pre and post snap adjustments that aren't just standard. Here's what we're in. Can you beat it? It doesn't work in the NFL very often. These offenses are good, but when you got a lot of young guys, they're learning. So, what from that secondary group besides Brian Cook jumped out against Seattle? Because there's, I'm sure, a couple guys.
Yeah,
You didn't
L'Jarius
watch
Sneed.
it live. You got to rewatch it in slow
Yeah, I
mo.
had to. I gave it the rewatch. I kind of gave a couple guys a second look. L'Jarius Sneed, it was had a decent day. He was the one who, ended up, tailing DK in the end, which we kind of predicted. Um, and it was a good matchup. It
Tom
was.
predicted. I wanted the other matchup, but it's fine.
Yeah. Hey, who it was hitter with Tyler Lockett not
Bill
being there.
Tyler Lockett, it changed things
Yeah,
quite a bit.
exactly. That changed things tremendously. But it was good to see him, with the task of DK Metcalf and
He's here now, right?
yeah.
Like, we're done with
Oh yeah.
conversations of questioning what legit. Like, he's him at this point, as
He
they
is
say, as
someone.
the children's say, don't they? That
Yeah,
he's him.
he is him. I think he's someone who you could reliably put on any person in any coverage and let him like be comfortable with it. You know that you're be good, like he's good. Like you don't gotta
They
worry
have
about
two
him.
guys on this defense that if you want to put them in one-on-one coverage and not think about them, I don't care.
Yes.
One's a
Who are those two
rookie
people?
and one's L'Jarius Sneed.
Exactly. Yeah, which is a good thing to have with your number one and number two
Like,
corner, I guess.
hey man, go ahead, throw it at L'Jarius. I go for it.
Go.
Don't
Yeah, go
you
for
might
it.
get a couple complete. Go ahead. And
Yeah, it's
I
not
will
gonna
tell
it's
you the
not gonna
same
work every
exact
time.
thing with Trent McDuffie. If you would like to test that, you can go ahead and throw that over there. I'll let you. We'll double everybody else and leave those two dudes on islands. You can have fun. Good luck. And I really
Yeah.
don't care. And I'm not even kidding at this point. I don't care who the wide receiver is either.
No, I mean, yeah, that's like the biggest part is that it doesn't matter who it is. He is good on
Especially
anyone
seeing it
now.
now with both of those dudes, with Jamar Chase, with Tyler Boyd, with
Yeah.
T. Higgins, with Bill's grouping of Diggs and that whole crew of McKenzie and like that. Those we've seen the corners, those two corners play with any of those dudes and not have problems. I don't have even a thought
Yeah.
anymore.
That's
So
that's just the biggest. You don't gotta worry about
when we
it.
start getting on Spags about leaving corners on islands when we blitz certain times, my response to a lot of people is going to be, I don't care. If it's
Yeah,
those two dudes on islands, I don't care.
that's fine by me,
don't.
honestly.
I don't care at all. You can put Josh and Jalen on the other two and give them both safety help. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm
and
done.
speaking of
I'm
Josh and
done.
Jalen,
I'm done worrying about what Spags calls at this point because the players have the talent and the understanding now of this defense to execute. And at this point, we're to the point now it's on them.
it is, and even still, like you can also like if they give up one or two, you can know that their mindset is right, and like they're just gonna get right back to it. You ain't gotta worry about it. They know what happened.
It's rare. It's weird. These kids all seem to have the same like goalie, closer, their sports mentality.
Yeah.
Of, well, that play happened. What play happened next?
Yep.
Like, corner in the NFL is a requirement. You cannot not have that mentality. Now, you can't have that mentality and also be Swiss cheese, like insert former Chiefs cornerback for trauma purposes here, Philip Gaines, Orlando Scandrick, Eric Murray. I mean, I can roll down the list, but insert trauma from our past here. they all had the same mentality. They just sucked.
Yeah,
these kids have talent and
That's a big
ability.
difference.
Also have that mentality, which is nice.
That is nice.
The other nice part is they're all babies, like all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
The only one they're paying anytime soon, other than there's two of them. Ladarius is priority A. It has to be done.
Yeah,
He's staying.
I mean, he might be next season, honestly.
And I'm sorry, but Juan's been just fine this year, and everybody acts like he's been god awful, and he's been more than fine.
Juan's definitely earned another contract, I think.
Do I hate that he can't tackle to save his life? Yes. Is that his job? No.
Just put Brian Cook. Let Brian Cook do that. You gotta worry about Juan.
Just like I said, everybody has roles. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a deep
you gotta let. That's the thing.
Sideline. He's your center field. He runs well. He's got the range. He's your deep guy.
Yeah, that's the thing about Spags'
I don't want him. If
system.
he's tackling the running back, 10 other people failed. Does that make sense? Like, should not. I'm not holding Juan accountable for not tackling Latavius Murray 25 yards downfield. That's not his freaking job.
No. And that's the thing about Spagnuolo's defense is like it's really good when everyone is playing their role. And when you have guys like Dan Sorensen playing Juan Thornhill's role, things don't end up working so well. So
I swear to God, this fan base has like short-term memory loss with what happened.
Yeah, they don't even they don't remember how bad it was.
Do y'all remember watching Dan Sorensen try to play deep safety?
It was a rough time. It was a rough time. I don't think it was bad enough for it to really ingrain in our memories about how bad it was. Because this is Hall of Fame play compared to that. Juan Thornhill is a Hall of Famer compared to what that was.
Safety is this.
Yeah.
The back of somebody's helmet and this. And you all know exactly what I'm talking about. So, I don't know what else to tell y'all. But
that being
that's
said,
not what I want at deep safety. Not.
That is not what I would want at all.
And I don't want anything else we've seen at deep safety this year either, frankly, if we're being 100% honest. No offense to anybody else that they've tried to play when Juan was breathered or sitting down or injured or whatever it was that he was down for with a few snaps that he's been out. But holy crap. Deion Bush is not it. I'm sorry.
Luckily, Deion Bush has mostly been relegated to special teams, which we can transition to here in a second if we'd like.
Yeah, fine with that. Do you have anything else on the defense?
I think that about kind of wraps it up. They looked really good. And that was
they were excellent.
Yeah, it's good that the highlight of the game for the Chiefs was the defense, which is good. That's good. It's good that wasn't the low light. So.
Yep, I don't know that there was one.
Yeah, no. Well, I guess we can kind of just jump to the offense because.
I mean, I don't know if there was. Did we have a turnover?
We.
I feel like there might have been one.
I don't think we had a turnover. No.
Okay. So, I actually like transitioning to the special teams topic next because
let's do it.
Specifically because there was a huge topic about that specific portion of the ball before the game.
Yep.
And I guess what's your take on what all took place? The conversations, obviously, we talked about what happened before with Dustin and Tommy and Andy and Tobe and discussions before the game. Then what we saw in game to where you think that you took from that and what they have taken from that.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation because I mean Dustin Colquitt has no reason to lie. He has no reason. Like he's a goat in the Chiefs kingdom. He's one of the best. He's one of the better punters really of all time. I mean he did it for like 16, 17 years, like doing it consistently at a high level like that. Like that's not hard. That's not easy to do in the NFL.
The best player on our roster for like
at some points in time he was, and so too like holding is like such a very it's an art. It's an art. Like you really it's an art and a science, but you have to. There is like specifics to it. Like you have to have it a certain way. Certain players like a certain lean to it. Certain people like hitting it with the laces to the left, the right, back, forward. It all has different effects on the ball. Crazily enough, so I'm sure Dustin definitely saw something that was.
You can go listen to Dustin tell Steven St. John about it last week. They did a whole long
Yeah.
interview about how that all works and what the
So
laces affect and what it does to the ball. It
it's
was
huge.
fascinating what to do.
The holder really does play a huge role in the operation of a kick, and it's not crazy to see that Harrison Butker's performance has kind of dropped off a tad since his holder was not Dustin Colquitt anymore. So, I'm sure it's just the thing. Like, you have a rookie punter or a younger punter, like, he's not going to be fantastic right out the box. It's going to affect you. I think they're starting to work through it now, and I mean, they have to, otherwise they might lose their jobs. Especially, I mean, I think people who are hammering for Harrison Butker to be gone next season are ridiculous.
First of all, that's A, not happening, and B,
ridiculous, right? Like, if I'm not crazy for thinking that.
Accurate kickers in the NFL, even with all the crap we complain about, he's still one of the more accurate kickers.
That's what I'm thinking. I feel like I look on Twitter and like I'm a crazy person that like people are like against him. It's like, you guys realize what the NFL with kickers is, right? Like,
Garrett, Tuscaloosa fan.
I like it.
It drives me insane.
It's crazy.
You're right though. There's no explanation. Like, it's simple, guys. There's a distinct difference between, if you go back and look, people did after Dustin brought it up. All kinds of your Chiefs media members went back and pulled clips, and he was right.
Yeah.
Laces this way, laces that way, laces that. Look, man, it matters. And we talked about it when they brought him in and they got rid of Dustin. What was the first thing I said on this podcast? I'm not worried about his punting. He can bomb the ball. I've seen the kid punt.
Yeah,
who's holding?
Not concerned about punting. That's the bigger effect.
Who's holding? Has he ever held before? It doesn't seem like it.
I'm not sure if he has.
He's definitely gotten better at it, and you can pretty much tell with where it goes with the numbers on the kicks and stuff where it goes. Now, you can also tell where Harrison was hurt and still isn't ever going to be 100% this season. I don't know how many times people have to say that before people listen, but he's never going to be 100%.
Exactly. People act like he was just like, all peachy. Like, people just forget.
Plant foot ankle.
Like, bro was out for like 4-6 weeks. How he was injured. Yeah, like he was injured.
Plant foot ankle, and it was.
I don't know.
I think it was a high ankle sprain. So
something.
That's kind of a problem for a kicker.
That's pretty significant. Let's not just like disregard that.
But when you go watch the holds from this game, the laces are all facing one direction, straight ahead.
Yep.
Went in and fixed it. So whatever he said on Twitter and whatever they said publicly, he heard and Tobe saw and like, hey, I've been saying this for 5 months. Are you listening now?
And really, like, that's all that matters. Like, who cares about all the drama and all that? Like, all that matters is that the solution. There's a solution.
He said it now, not in freaking January.
It's a good thing he said it now. It's a great thing he said it now. Shout out to Dustin for that. Honestly, he did more help than anything. So everyone benefits, everyone wins. I'm sure there was probably some choice words exchanged, but
sit there last week and answer questions, and he was the teammate that you expect him to be. He also told you, if you listened, hey dog, I'm gonna need you to fix it, homie, because they're coming at me. That's really not cool. Because when he says the phrase, no matter what happens with the ball, I have to put it through the uprights.
Yeah,
that's not exactly a ringing endorsement, kids.
Yeah, that means
That's a little nice subtle signal to it through the media after having probably multiple conversations in the room and still handling as a professional, telling your teammate, hey buddy, I need your help here. Work with me. So
that's everything you need right there.
To the part where he's addressed what looks to be the issue. Also, maybe James had a bad couple of days snapping, but that's where I think the holder's job is probably the most important in the operation and why I was so worried about it when Dustin was the one leaving.
Yeah.
Because if James's snap isn't dead perfect, then the laces aren't perfect, and the holder has to fix it. And if you try to turn the ball, it's like turning the wrong way playing shortstop. When you feel the ball and you turn the wrong way, you're not getting that guy at first.
No.
Not.
And really, the holder.
9 times out of 100, if you turn the wrong way on a hard hit ball to short in the hole, you're not getting the guy at first. because you
You're
turned the
not.
wrong way. It turned your whole momentum down and stopped all of everything you needed. It's the same thing with kicking. If you turn the ball the wrong way, it takes a lot more time to get it there. That slows the kicker's progress down. He's watching, and it's supposed to be in a certain spot at a certain time. All that's on a clock. All that's on a pattern. They repeat that process a billion times a year so that it's just. But if that ball's not there because you're turning it the wrong way, there you go.
There you go. I mean, it's just right there. So, and also the holder.
I'm not
trying
to bang on Tommy. He's been excellent in most of his game most of the year.
Yeah, it's just experience. That's just the biggest thing that you need in a holder, really, because the holder is kind of the quarterback of the kick operation. Like if something goes wrong, if there's a fire drill, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like if something goes wrong, bad snaps, anything like that, unblocked guy, like that holder is responsible for all of that. So you need someone who has at least been, taking a lot of reps. So going from Dustin Colquitt and a guy like that who has been in the league for years, and then switching to a guy who hasn't done it, like it's just not going to be a perfect transition. So we're getting there now. We are transitioning. He is getting into. He is finding his rhythm, I think. So, and the whole. If they lost the rhythm, they were probably early or in the middle of the season, kind of in a little bit of a funk, and now they got it back. So it's a rhythm thing, and it's all mental.
It was a good day to have in a kicking game because it was a miserably cold day, and I felt horrible for Tommy on the punting because it sounded like he was
the punting was. And it was tough to punt. Yeah.
I mean, you guys know what the ball sounds like when it comes off his foot. It usually sounds like a bomb going off. This sounded like he's kicking concrete.
Yeah, I mean those things. I mean they were still kind of flying, but it was probably not
how much ice and how much work they did on the top of his foot afterwards.
Yeah, it was definitely sore.
Balls were frozen.
His foot was definitely sore. So shout out to special teams for having a good day and not being a problem.
Unfun conditions to kick in.
Yeah. So offense time.
Let's do that. It's time.
Let's do it.
I know we're 35 minutes in and we want to be done quicker than that with the Seahawks, but we have to talk about this offense because, well, we have the MVP and
he is here, folks.
Yeah. He's done.
Is so far done. It's actually crazy. Like the things that he's doing on a week-to-week basis, madness.
It's every week.
Like you're not seeing anyone else in the league with that rushing touchdown where he lays out like Superman and reaches out and barely touches the outside of the pylon. Like you're not seeing that. You're not seeing that from anyone on a week-to-week basis. Except Pat.
The ability to know how to position his body weight by having just one hand on the ground to bounce his whole body weight off a pivot point, hold himself up in the air and touch the slither of the outside of the pylon is ridiculous. Like I tweeted, I didn't know I needed to add parkour to things that Patrick is probably excellent at, but it appears, and come to find out, according to Bobby, he does gymnastics once a week, and it doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me anything. All the training that he does with Bobby, you see those videos, like he just does crazy stuff. Like he just Bobby trains him to be an athlete in like every facet of the game.
Than any traditional training you've ever seen in your entire life.
And
it is not the same thing. What he works on, stuff they do, what they focus on. It's just crazy to see the approach of someone who's approached their game like a professional since they were a child, because essentially they were born into a pro locker room. Like he's so detail oriented and so aware. You have to know how to position where your body is.
How heavy your different parts of the body are. Yeah.
To be able to do that, which means you have to know basically exactly what each portion part of you weighs and how to position it and angle it.
Oh, that's just wild. They probably measured it all too. That's the crazy part.
Bobby said he's not even like, it's not like they go out and like he like trains that, but he does gymnastics workouts and routines and stuff for balance and core and this.
Yeah.
You see it all. All the training
you
stuff
see
that he does, it's all over the place.
I mean,
the angular, by the way he got to the parkour platform, the curved linear running speed thing that we've talked about 85 times on this podcast that I still don't freaking understand. But we're to the point now. Gardner Minshew scored 34 points on the Cowboys, okay? I love Jalen Hurts. He's been a great year.
Jalen, my guy.
We're not the MVP. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to entertain the Josh Allen conversation. I'm not getting into it with
It's
Bills
Pat.
fans.
It's Pat. I mean, there's really no other option. Like, he is.
Take care of this with Denver, and which we're going to talk about here in a minute, and Vegas.
They are.
And it's just, it doesn't matter. And here's the thing. Okay, so there's a tweet that's been running around. It's absolutely absurd. And this is where we're at with Patrick. In NFL history, most seasons with 4,500 passing yards and 35 passing touchdowns. The breakdown here is years with those statistics and years as a primary starter in the NFL. Tom Brady has 5 such seasons with 21 years as a starter. Patrick Mahomes has 4 such seasons with 5 years as a starter. Peyton Manning has 4 such seasons with 17 years as the starter. And Drew has 4 such seasons, Drew Brees that is, as 19 years as the starter. Those are the 3 best quarterbacks ever.
Ever.
Basically, other than maybe Aaron Rodgers, who's actually not on that list. I was kind of surprised.
So that goes, yeah. You might
he's done everything but what Tom has in 5 years. And I won't be surprised if next year he ties Tom. So we're to the point now, and I couldn't believe it. I heard this come out of Skip Bayless's mouth the other day, but I swear to God it did. We're to the point now where he set the bar so high, it's basically just unattainable for everyone else, and for him, it's just average. Yeah, so we just don't even think about it. And who does that sound like, Garrett? What comparison to the NBA could be made there?
That sounds like LeBron, maybe? Would you say LeBron? Would you say
one guy for sure?
Maybe
the other guy is
Michael Jordan.
Both got the fatigue treatment with the MVP award.
Yeah.
You've seen it some in football where you probably could have given Peyton 1 or 2 more. You probably could have given Tom 1 or 2 more, but other guys needed to win it.
Well, it's just the thing. It's just like the Mahomes standard. It's like everyone knows he's going to put up astronomical numbers that no other quarterback in the league will ever touch. So it's kind of like it's a given that it's his award every year. Except it's only been his award 1 year.
Conversation. What he's done this year is he's added the extra element. He's killing teams with his loss. We talked about it for 2 years. He doesn't run until it's the playoffs, right?
Not this year.
Well, somebody forgot to tell him because so far in like 2 weeks, he's got a Jordan dunk touchdown and a parkour gymnastics reach lunge touchdown that I don't know anybody else in the league that scores either one of them as the quarterback. And I know, and that's not to say that there's not crazily like fast and good, like Lamar's a freak. But to do those 2 physical activities that he did, you have to be a certain size and you have to be able to do certain things. Just you haven't seen anybody else do. So until somebody else does a parkour touchdown trick or something along those lines, I'm not going to know that I believe anybody else in the league can do it. Sorry.
Sorry about it.
So I'm to the point. He's the MVP.
It's locked up. I think in my eyes, it's definitely locked up. Especially, Jalen Hurts was really the only other close one, and he's probably not going to even play for the rest of the season.
That's it.
It's just,
in that case.
And we've got two easy games coming up on left in the schedule. Like, it's gonna.
I won't say easy, just specifically because of that. And I guess we can use that as a transition into Denver.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll transition to Denver, but really I think the
I just don't even know what the conversational argument is against him.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. You really just cannot put anyone else ahead of him.
This would be the only year you could have like a quarterback finish first, and then a receiver and a running back or somebody else finish second and third.
Legit, yeah. Like
because
you might see.
We talk about all the time how shouldn't be just a QB award, and that's somewhat true. It shouldn't be.
But
this year, it's definitely his.
It's definitely far and away. He's having one of the best seasons.
I would give you Justin Jefferson as the second option.
I was going to say, Justin Jefferson, probably number 2.
But I can't. I can't. You're talking most valuable.
And he is. Especially, I mean,
how many games now? 12 now? 13?
12 or
12,
13? Something like that.
I don't even remember how many games are left in the season too. So
12 and 3. 12 and 3. We are 12
so
and 3.
They're looking at potentially a 14-3 into the year.
Yeah, that's, and especially without Tyreek Hill. That was like the biggest. That was the biggest conversation the entire offseason. The offense is not going to be the same.
Fourth in this division to like
Chiefs are going to be. I mean, people had the Chiefs missing the playoffs and being like a losing record. It's like, no.
Shout out Will Compton. Saw that tweet or saw that podcast.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy. I know you owned it. I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
You owned
your 10 was in full effect.
He apologized to Travis. He tweeted it.
But yeah, the MVP award is Mahomes's, and I highly doubt anyone else says otherwise.
I hope he just goes out and nukes Denver and Vegas. Just
he might. He might, because he didn't.
Just because if he does, you can get the record.
Boom. There you go.
Blow them apart and get the record.
Yeah. Quickly before we get to Denver, we'll just touch on how the offense did with the Seahawks. Pretty mundane. Nothing crazy. We don't really have to dive too far into it, but it's not like they did anything crazy. They tried some things.
Pacheco looked great.
Yeah, Pacheco had a good game. McKinnon went well. You know, they established some good things. Kelsey had a good game. Kelsey had a really good game.
I don't know how much more Justin Watson I can take.
Yeah, maybe we're gonna have to get some McCole Hardman back soon. Hopefully, he'll probably be back.
And it's not like, look, man, Justin's fine. You just gotta catch the freaking ball.
Yeah, that is tough.
Hey, you're fast. You're open. Catch it.
So receivers, you know, they're getting back. They're getting back to form, hopefully. But really, just nothing crazy from the offense. Just they got the job done. Yeah.
Okay. We have to talk about this briefly because since the bye week, since we knew he had knee issues early this year, he's been arguably the best tackle in football since the bye week, guys.
That's arguable.
He's given up 13.
It's arguable.
He's given up 13 pressures since week 10, from week 10 to 16. He gave up 30 in the first 9 weeks.
I mean, the numbers.
8 games the first 10 weeks, 7 games the second stuff that I just mentioned. Like, we knew he was dealing with a leg injury. He's not good with speed when he's full healthy on his legs. We know, and he didn't have Tooney for some of those games that he was bad in. That's a big deal.
True. That is true.
Joe Tooney is worth every freaking dime they pay him. Anybody who thinks otherwise is insane.
Yeah.
He has made everybody's life on that offensive line so much easier. Do you guys think that Creed and Trey have just had such a nice, smooth, easy rocket ship development to the top for accidental purposes? It does help that they're super talented and that they have a good line coach or O-line coach. It also helps that they have arguably the best guard in the NFL on Creed's other side. You know who else that helps tremendously? Orlando. Because where does Orlando not have to worry about getting beat at all ever if Joe's there? Inside. Because it's already damn near impossible to beat him inside on a power move anyway. If Joe Tooney is standing there to where he can at least put a hand on you, you're not winning that. Therefore, you turn into a one-dimensional pass rusher, and then what can Orlando do? Cheat to you, to his weakness, and then he can destroy you because once he puts his hands on you and he's healthy, it's over. He's getting franchise tag minimum this year, guys.
Oh,
he's not leaving. They're probably going to try and pay him again. They're not going to pay him top tier left tackle money because they can't. And he knows that and he may take the tag and play on it again. And hopefully not hurt the first half of the year next year.
Yeah.
And if he does, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
I know
I'd be curious to hear.
And I know it doesn't look pretty, and I know it's not. It doesn't look dominant all the time. He's been great the last 6 or 7 games. He had one off game in that stretch, and it was the game Tooney was out. That's the game he gave up most of the pressures in that stretch, also, and I believe that was the Cincy game. So,
yeah, this is a moment I wish we had Arrowhead Tom here to kind of get his take on it. But
talk to him. I mean, I'm sure we'll discuss it again next week.
Yeah, we'll definitely discuss it again next week. But I will say, we haven't had to talk about Orlando Brown a lot, which is a good sign. So
Best
that's
trait
saying
for an
something.
offensive lineman. No one's talking
Exactly. That is the ultimate goal for him. So ultimately, Seahawks game, pretty comfortable game. Never felt in doubt of losing it. Maybe had some things to clean up there, but you can't really
little
complain
things.
about.
Don't drop the ball.
I
Don't
mean, the Seahawks are a
look
playoff team,
ridiculous.
so it's like we beat a playoff team pretty handedly. So that says something.
Covered. They covered
Covered,
a
covered it
double-digit spread.
easily. So hop into Denver. Obviously,
Oh
Denver
God, you
has
have
had
to.
a very fun week. Uh, Great week to fire their head coach, I'd say, right before you had to play the Chiefs. I'd say that's maybe not the best of timing, but what do I
Um,
know? I don't own I
according
don't own
to
codes.
Albright, according to Ben Albright, who covers the team, Denver, covers the Broncos, he's also a friend of the program. We've talked to Ben a couple times. Um, there was some stuff that occurred after this week's 51-14 whooping from Baker Mayfield's led
Oh my
LA
gosh.
Rams. And I guess some things in the locker room and some stuff with Hackett that led to Brass in Denver spending 24 to 40 hours on deciding on the future, and he was gone. So they were going to wait till the end of the year. Stuff happened. He's gone now. They also
Bye
fired
bye,
several
buddy.
other staff members. I think there was an offensive line coach that's gone. They fired. They went in and cleaned out some bodies. I don't know what that means for their preparedness heading into this week.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I do know
I
that
think
the interim head coach is the guy that was running clock management for Nathaniel Hackett at one point, and I saw a tweet he was 20 minutes late to his first interview, so take that for what it's worth.
Okay, here we
I think that was
go.
more of a joke tweet, but still, like, that's not a great look.
Yeah,
Look, man, they are a friggin' disaster.
that's a light way to put it. Yeah.
That it was a bad idea from the start, and it just progressed to getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And now we're here, and now Nathaniel
That's like,
Hackett's fired.
ooh.
Now the offensive line coach is fired. Now somebody else is gone. Now the wide receivers are mass tweeting out defenses of Russell Wilson. I almost called him Russell Westbrook. They're the same freaking person. I take that back. Russell Westbrook is not as corny. I retract my statement. I'm sorry.
Shout Russ.
Russ Wilson about him having an office and like meeting hours and the
Yeah,
story came out in
which is
March, and
hilarious.
now it's coming back around, and now the wide receiving core that has been doing the tyrant all year to him after every pass is now out mass tweeting their defense of him all at the same time. That usually smells more like smoke. Where there's usually where there's smoke, there's fire, and if y'all all had to come out and defend your quarterback's honor that y'all have been mean mugging and arguing with and fighting with all year.
They just want to get the ball still thrown to them.
I get it.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah.
Well, and they want to look like a bad teammate for the next team might be interested or whatever. So
Yep.
or they may be stuck in Denver and God knows they're going to be tough to cut Russ. So
It's gonna be
have
tough
to be
to
able to
be
next
there
year
for a while. It's gonna be a ride again. We're gonna be riding.
So it's a whole disaster fiasco. But there's going to be a bunch of dudes trying to play for jobs. So
Yep.
I'm a little nervous about what we might get from Denver as far as some guys freelancing and just trying to make plays and do their own thing.
I think it's also kind of a general rule of thumb, like the week after a head coach gets fired, the team usually kind of rallies. Yeah, they kind of rally a little more around the interim head coach. Now this interim head coach, I don't know. I mean, just some random special teams guy, clock management guy that was brought in way through the season. So I'm not sure how much they're rallying for him. That locker room just seems like in a sad state at the moment. I'm sure they are counting down the days till they can get out of there.
Dalton Risner is not a aggressively volatile teammate.
Yeah.
According to damn near anyone that you ask about.
Pretty mild mannered, I think.
From his days at K-State and all the way through.
Pretty good stand-up
He
guy.
tried to rip Russell Wilson's head off like it was the episode of the longest shark movie.
That was Brett Rippon, right?
Or Rippon, I'm sorry.
Pushed, yeah.
Like, we're to the point now where it looks like a bad edition of Longest Yard.
That is a great
assessment. The stadium was on fire earlier this year, and I think it was in better shape than the football team currently is.
Yeah.
And I have Bronco friends, and they're all around going, "Oh,
I have Broncos friends as well."
God, what the hell is happening? And it's
they're not having a good time.
Here's the other question: how are you keeping the GM? How on God's green earth are you keeping the GM that executed the trade
did all
for
this?
The quarterback,
yeah, they did.
Hired the head coach and then paid the quarterback before he had to be paid. I don't understand what the hell is happening, but somehow that guy's keeping his job.
Yeah.
And also somehow he's still widely respected around the NFL as one of the better GMs according to execs, which blows my mind.
What are you talking about?
I'm just reading what was written earlier.
I feel you. I feel you. Listen, it's the Broncos. Yeah, they're a dumpster fire.
Kill them, but
they should. But
they're gonna come out and try to save their jobs or get jobs elsewhere.
Yeah.
This game feels like it's gonna be closer than it should be, just because it's stupid at this point.
Yep. I mean, their defense isn't a slouch. They've had a number one defense. Not as good as it was, but they had a number one defense for a couple weeks there. So that's something.
Yeah,
we saw Russ.
The loss of Vic Fangio, man. He made it suck as a head coach, but
he could
call a defense.
I mean, that defense was lights out with Vic, and now
they're like 10th or ish.
I would say really the big thing.
Not great.
It's still not great though. I mean, better than ours probably, but
not elite.
Who knows?
Hey,
not elite.
You can say whatever you want about this defense. Everybody wanted the top 20 defense before the year, and they're like 21st in DVOA. So
I want a top 15, but secondly, I think the biggest thing obviously always comes down to Russ. We saw Russ firsthand just a couple weeks ago, and not looking too hot still.
They got smothered in the first half. He did a bunch of weird crap and then knocked himself out in the second half.
I remember that actually. Yeah, that's crazy. So this seems like it's just setting up to be a really weird, strange game.
When we play Denver, it never fit. And the only time
it's a divisional game.
An ass beating is when Drew Lock was playing quarterback, and
that was a pretty convincing ass beating.
I can't say the only time Trevor Siemian and
Brock Osweiler, I don't think had great times versus us.
Who's the other one? Lynch? Paxton Lynch? Yeah, that guy.
Paxton Lynch, he might have had like 1 or 2 starts versus
us. Boy, am I still glad we dodged that freaking bullet.
Yeah. Jeez Louise, Paxton Lynch. The Broncos have been having a rough state of affairs since Peyton left. And it's continuing with Russ, so
yeah, except he's about as expensive as it gets since they've left. You ever seen them? I've still never. It's going to go down as one of the worst trades in history. They gave up 5 picks, 3 players, and paid that man $250 million.
Oh Lord, yeah, that's not good. But hey, you know what? There could be brighter days in the Broncos' future, just not this year.
Here do we actually care about? Because here's the other problem. I'm just gonna quickly roll through. Well, as quickly as you physically can roll through an injury list that's the size of a small book.
I mean, half of their guys are injured.
The entire wide receiver core tweeted out the defense of their quarterback was limited to practice on Thursday and Wednesday. Cortland Sutton is limited with a hamstring both days this week. Dalton Reisner was limited and then a full participant. So he's probably going to play. But Jerry Jeudy was limited both days with an ankle. Kendall Hinton was limited both days with a hamstring. That's basically the whole wide receiver core.
That's all of them. I mean, they didn't have many wide receivers to begin with, and that's pretty much all.
Blew his ACL at like week 2. He's been out all year.
Yeah. So
Greg Dulcich, the guy that caught like 65% of his passes a couple weeks, like last week or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much
both days with a hamstring.
He's pretty much their main pass catcher.
He's not probably playing.
So that's not good.
They're missing a tackle. The defense is missing a linebacker, a couple linebackers, and Randy Gregory on that list also.
Well, he might be suspended.
A couple of DNPs. That's not great. The DJ Jones, DNPs with a knee issue. Aaron Browning, DNPs with a back issue.
So
Mike
the Broncos might.
Purcell, DNP limited with an elbow.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
it's a
Broncos might be
mess.
rolling out a practice squad versus us.
But K'Wan Williams has been DNP limited. Like, it's a look, y'all.
Yeah. So to put it lightly, the Broncos fans, I would just maybe take a stroll, maybe take a hike on Sunday.
Is this
Maybe
in
don't.
Denver?
Is it in Denver? I'm not.
Didn't we play them in Arrowhead already?
Yeah, it is in Denver. No, it is in Arrowhead.
Okay, we played them in Denver. That's right.
We played them in Denver. Yeah.
So that was their chance to really probably win the game.
Yeah. So yeah, probably don't have to travel for this one.
Actual beatdown, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Broncos fans in Colorado probably don't gotta travel for this one. You can probably save the trip. It's gonna be probably still icy out there.
They aren't traveling to the stadium in freaking Denver.
That's true. That's true.
And I don't blame them. That's not a shot, Broncos fans. I wouldn't go to that shit either.
No, definitely not. So
what are we, 8 years into this mess?
About so, yeah.
Well, they haven't won a game against us in 27 tries. I think this will be 28.
I don't know how many times, but it's been very many years. I think
last time we played them that freaking Twitter was basically like 2 years old at that point. And
I think if you were
seltzers didn't exist, y'all. Like, there were no White Claws the last time the Broncos beat the
I think if you were to have a child the last time the Broncos beat us, he would be in like first or second grade at this point. Middle schooler. Yeah, so that to be said, this Broncos game, it could be a crazy one. It's really hard to predict with all the injuries on the Broncos side. It really should be a blowout, but who knows what this
in the fourth quarter, please, guys? Just one time this year. Just
maybe.
Go out.
I kind of want pad Patrick's stats for gambling purposes, but
not if he pads the stats in the first half.
I mean, that's true. If he pads them up, if he gets up there enough, I mean, let's say if this game gets comfortable enough, I think we really should see Chad Henne. And realistically,
it's like what they did to the Raiders a couple years ago, where they scored like 40 points in like 10 minutes in the first half.
Yeah, I remember that game vividly. Just take them out. Yeah, just let some young guys get some reps. Maybe even activate Shane Buechele for this game. Keep him on the bench. Keep him warmed up. We see what happens. Who knows?
We do briefly have to discuss the Raiders before we get out of here. Man, we give you score predictions because they decided to light their whole organization on fire in this week too. And we get to see them next week. So this is just a little preview to what that episode will be like. What in the hell is Mark Davis doing, letting Josh McDaniels use Derek Carr as a scapegoat? And I'm sorry that I have to sit here and freaking defend Derek Carr, but Jesus Christ.
It's tough to see him go out like this, as a Raider.
Yo, I'm sorry. We make all kinds of jokes about Derek Carr and whatnot, just mostly because he struggles against us and specifically in the cold and Arrowhead, and we get it. But, like, if you watch that Raiders team, go back to what he did last year for that trash can of a franchise and all the crap he navigated them through. And put up 5,000 yards, I think, last season, or pretty freaking close to it.
Yeah, he had a big year last year.
You gave him a patchwork, garbage offensive line, a tight end that didn't want to play there anymore, a hurt slot receiver, Devontae Adams, and no defense, and it's his fault? And now he got to step away from the team to not be a distraction because y'all don't want to have his contract get guaranteed, go $40 million guaranteed if he gets hurt the last 2 weeks for you? That dude's bled, sweat, tears, black and silver since the day y'all got him. He's done nothing but deal with all of the... he reminds me of Alex Smith, y'all. He was with the 49ers, and the organization was a dumpster fire.
Doesn't get enough love, for sure.
He's a top 15 or 20 starting quarterback. There's guys in this league that are starting that he should absolutely be starting over. And he's better than quite a few of them that are starting. There's no way that you allow Josh McDaniels, the guy who was atrocious in Denver as a head coach, went to New England and rehabbed his image as an offensive coordinator, only to go to Indianapolis and then renege on the agreement and bail 5 seconds beforehand to go back to New England and be the offensive coordinator and completely stray Indy. Luckily, they got Frank Reich, who worked out for a while. But then he does that. Then you bring him in out there, and all of a sudden the quarterback that's been fine, not been the problem, now the problem. And now you got your star wide receiver that you just traded for him, tweeting out that he's got his brother's back no matter what, and he's working with him. So that tells me, guess who's going to want out of Vegas here pretty soon? Because if you're shipping Derek Carr off,
yeah, the Raiders, really the entire AFC West, just not having a great year.
I almost think I know why. They can't afford to get rid of McDaniels because they can't afford to pay another coach.
Well, they can't. Actually, well, that is the reason why. And also the reason that they're benching Derek Carr was well, if he got hurt in any of these games, his contract would be fully guaranteed for next year, and half of his contract guaranteed for the year afterwards. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's, you know, the Raiders are kind of a dumpster fire at the moment as well. They're
repeating the Khalil Mack BS from 10 years ago or whatever it was.
I mean, it's the same organization. Like, we've seen it. We've seen it happen.
Khalil Mack ended up a Bear is they couldn't name.
Exactly, and I mean,
it's crazy, man.
When Mark Davis is the owner of that team, it's going to be the same way. So
you just moved to Vegas and you just got an influx of cash out your backside. Where is it all?
I think they've already spent it actually with John Gruden having to pay that, and
there's Mike Mayock and all that. They fired him for racial comments.
Well, you know, it's just I'm sure I think they've spent a lot of money.
They've done that.
So
it's a mess.
Raiders not having a good time. Broncos not having a good time.
It's not Oakland's fault anymore. It's Vegas' fault now.
It's Vegas' fault now. So, but yeah, the Broncos.
Yeah.
Not in a great.
Where are you at on the Broncos, man?
I'm gonna be a conservative, like 35-10. I'm gonna say a conservative 35-10. I don't think it's
35-10.
Yeah, I think they might be able to score on us one time maybe, and kick a field goal. But I don't know.
Russ playing, or is Russ not playing, or is
Russ will be playing. I don't know. Either way, either or. I have no idea really the score prediction. This is a complete shot in the dark.
Arrowhead's gonna be loud because
probably not gonna get.
It's gonna be full. It's gonna be a toxic environment. Russ doesn't love toxic environments unless he's the home team in the toxic environment for the most part. They're so bad. They've got no coaching staff left. They're all beat up and injured. Do they actually care anymore? Have we reached the point where they don't even think they're paying for jobs anymore and they're just over it? Like, I don't know, man. This game.
That's the thing. You just have no idea. I really have no idea.
It could be a 3-point game because stupid stuff happens.
Probably.
For me, though, you are conservative because I think it's like 42-3. They're so bad and hurt.
They are so
bad
and
have
hurt.
No coaches. Not that they had much coaching to begin with, but they have no coaches. Like, I'll do this. I'll say 42-17 just because that's 42-3 is just absurd.
Oh, jeez, that might be even more absurd.
I think it's 42-17 because they score a touchdown in like the third or fourth quarter when Leo Chanel's calling the defense and Deion Bush is playing safety.
Right. I mean, this game really could be like that. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a good game.
One touchdown and 100 yards in the third and fourth quarters.
I think if you're going to Arrowhead, I think if you're going to Arrowhead for this game, I think it'll be a very good game. I think you should have a good time. I think it's going to be a really good time at Arrowhead.
/boots this time around.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how many shoes come off, but yeah, it's going to be a good time. Arrowhead's going to be rocking. Enjoy it, Chiefs Kingdom. Enjoy Sunday. Let's keep on appreciating the greatness that is Patrick Mahomes. It is Sunday, yes. Yeah.
They got an extra day. That means Benny's going to kill people.
Maybe.
No, he gave him the days off. It's all good. It's the normal week. I'm just being a smart ass at this point.
So, should be a good game. Should be a good weekend. Enjoy it, Chiefs Kingdom. Keep on appreciating Patrick Mahomes' greatness while we got it. Enjoy all of the offense and just enjoy the Chiefs because we really are a top team in the league still, and it kind of people realize that when they're watching us.
Freaking retooling year, and they're 12
Yeah,
and 3.
this is the rebuild year. Remember that. So be sure to follow us at Garrett720 and at KTHen16, and then at Kingdom Says Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Be sure to follow at Arrowhead Tom as well, our guy. He's going to be doing some great things coming up as well. And we will see you guys in the next episode.